the song's Bees, B-E-E-Z.
No,
Biebs. I did not know
No, it's
that,
Biebs in the Trap. I
No.
think it's Biebs. Anyway, what's about the bees? The B vitamins?
No, Bees in the Trap. Like that's where she bees in the trap.
No, it's Biebs. I think it's Biebs in the Trap.
All right. Anyway, so
Biebs in the Trap sing Brian McKnight. No, what's up with the B vitamins though? They said that you need some. You need to just like drink that all the time, or what?
no, it was just a really rough 3 days where I'm just trying to get all the stuff back in
And
me.
you needed more than Gatorade. Have you thought about the potential that we are going to get the exact same Eastern Conference Finals and Western Conference Finals as we had in the bubble?
Yeah.
It would be Heat, Boston, Denver, Los Angeles. That is the exact same Eastern Conference Finals and Western Conference Finals we had in 2020.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm actually cool with that because the bubble, and I feel like this says a lot about my mental health during the pandemic when I had absolutely nothing to gamble on. The bubble was probably the greatest thing to ever happen to me. That and Korean baseball, the KBO, the Korean Baseball League, and the Lotte Giants.
And the Wubble as well. I bet on WNBA a lot.
Because I was betting on people playing video games, I'm not going to lie, and I was like, oh, okay, the Packers are playing the Browns. I'm just going to bet $300 minus 185 on the money line. And it was a video game, so I was like losing a lot of money and betting just like things, darts. And so I loved the bubble. I thought the product was decent. And now I feel like it's legitimate if we do get the conference finals and it's those 4 teams. And I'm rooting for LeBron, damn it. You know this. I'm team old guy. That's why I love Aaron Rodgers. That's why I love Tom Brady. And the more and more I watch, I'm rooting for LeBron. And I feel like as a Chicagoan, maybe I have to like turn in my Chicago card. I wore the shirt today though.
Come on, let's do it.
I think if the Suns run it back next year with this roster, first off, is there any chance that they do run it back next year with this roster? We know how great Jokic is. I think the Nuggets win the championship. I told you guys to bet Finals MVP weeks ago. If you didn't listen,
I do not think that they run it back. We're already seeing reports that they're looking to aggressively shop and move Chris Paul. Who wants him? I don't know. Maybe he goes back to the Clippers.
Why though? No.
Why?
God, no.
I don't know where he would go. I don't know where he would go.
Why would the Clippers do that? The last 3 years, they probably should have won the NBA Finals. Instead, everybody on the team's gotten hurt.
I don't know.
You're gonna add to Paul George and Kawhi Leonard, Chris Paul.
I don't know.
Run DNP.
I don't know.
You couldn't do it. You can't. You got to get younger, if anything.
So that's that. And then
they're not moving Chris Paul.
They're moving Chris Paul.
Yeah, well, not for anything though.
You just got to get him off your books.
But like, who's taking? Well, somebody will, I guess.
What about
who?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I kind of like what they have with Josh Palmer as well. So I do think this wide receiver unit, although, in some ways they're gravitating towards like the older side, they can definitely still get it done. And they have guys that can separate underneath and Keenan Allen. They have guys that can win deep. And they kind of have this a little bit of an unknown in a Quentin Johnson guy who was expected to be a little bit of a workout warrior. Didn't necessarily live up to that fruition, but can kind of do it all from, the wide receiver position. Just didn't have a ton of volume at TCU. So I'm excited about where they're going offensively. I do think, less looks to Austin Eckler underneath is going to be a big boon to this offense. And I also think Kellen Moore, kind of trying to maximize, Justin Herbert's ability, I think is very much going to set them up in the right direction. And I know everyone wants to back the Chiefs, and I know at the end they're going to be in there no matter what, right? But I think if there was a spot where maybe you could fade them just a little bit, it is going to be in the regular season. I'm not saying they're not going to get into the playoffs, but we have seen Patrick Mahomes, and Andy Reid, and this idea or approach of them not really being able to, cover the spread in a lot of situations. I think we could see a similar sentiment, with how they actually perform for, in the AFC West as well. And I think they kind of mess around game in and game out, go 10-6, get into that 4th or 5th spot, or probably like the 5th spot of the wild card round, and then run the tail from there, maybe to handicap Patrick Mahomes a little bit more. So I think if you were going to play a spot, I think it would be the Chargers. And I do think we're going to see Justin Herbert probably take that next step. Probably see the Chiefs knock them off in the playoffs if they do in the AFC West, but I don't mind buying into the Chargers, I would say, to kind of make that additional step in the AFC. I very much do think it is Cincinnati. It does seem like they've gotten so close at this point in time where there is really no, secondary option where they get to the Super Bowl and lose, and you kind of still see that as an improvement on where they were at the past 2 seasons. And they're going to have the Joe Burrow contract too, and they're going to have Jamar Chase, and pretty soon this young core that they have, Like they have to start identifying the pieces that they want to pay and the other guys that they can potentially live without. We are going to see some of that, the ramifications of that already happen defensively. But once that kind of, I would say comes to roost for them offensively as well, where they are deciding between T. Higgins, maybe they don't have Tyler Boyd in the fold. Like that's where they might not be as close to the Kansas City Chiefs as they've ever been. So I think that's, the concerning spot for me. I do think that they probably have the best roster outside of Kansas City and very much could do it this year. But if they don't actually get back there, I don't know if we're going to see them, I would say, again, with a chance to win the Super Bowl for the next 5 to 7 years. So that is the question, right? I mean, last year I said it was Houston. That was not the correct call whatsoever. So I'm a little bit hesitant of going all out there, but I think it's going to be Indianapolis. I think they're going to be kind of fun, intriguing, especially when they're down and kind of capable of running the football. They're allowed to run the football more or less. Like we're going to see some dynamic plays from Anthony Richardson. I'm not going to say they're going to be in or winning a lot of games, but I think when it's all said and done, you're going to look up and you're going to have a pretty profitable betting season betting on them, because they are going to try and slow the game down and they are going to pound the rock with Jonathan Taylor. And it is going to be really difficult, I would say, for teams to potentially cover a pretty wide spread with what they have both offensively and defensively. So I think early on, it's definitely the Colts would probably be my, once again, hold your nose and bet them type team through the first, 8 or so weeks of the season.
I'm just trying to figure out where Kyrie's going, because I am like, by the day, I'm more sold that he's going to be a Laker. Him and LeBron the other night did the handshake. How does LeBron remember all of these different handshakes?
I don't know. Isn't that insane?
Like, you go back his career, he was playing with Mo Williams, Ilgauskas, Drew Gooden. How does he remember? Do you think he remembers, like, if he saw Larry Hughes just walking on the street or Antoine Jameson, he'd just be able to do a handshake?
We need to ask him that. We need to ask him that.
Hey, LeBron,
if I see him at Summer League, that's the one thing that I'm going to ask. Hey, I've been thinking about this for 2.5 months.
Yeah.
If you were to see Larry Hughes right now or one of your former teammates, would you be able to do the handshake, the identical handshake that you did when you guys were teammates?
I think the most overrated thing in sports that at least that I've ever seen is when a head coach, like when Sean McVay, when they'd be like 2016 week 4 against Atlanta, and he'd be like, I ran it up the middle with Todd Gurley, then we set up play action with Jared Goff, and everybody's like, oh my God, his memory. Well, if you're a head coach, like, you should remember what you called. That doesn't really impress me much, as Shania Twain once said. But LeBron remembering all of these handshakes, like, that is insane.
Dylan, who's the most aggressive head coach in the NFL?
Well, not Sean McVay. Not Matt.
No, definitely not.
Matt LaFleur's pretty aggressive.
Didn't he punt?
You know what? No. That's an easy question. John Harbaugh.
Yes.
Lamar, are we going for it? All
Yes.
right, Lamar wants to go for it. We're going for it. Hell yeah. Like, how many games did they lose the last couple of years where they could have just kicked the extra point to go into overtime, and he's like, no, we're going for 2. Even with Tyler Huntley, they could have beat Green Bay a couple of years ago with Tyler Huntley, but instead they went for 2, which I always like that decision. If you're the dog, you don't want to go to overtime. That's where dogs go to die. Thankfully, Boston did not have to go to overtime because Jason Tatum finally turned it on. Would have been cool if he did this last year in the NBA Finals against the Warriors when I had the Celtics at a 35-1 ticket. Instead, I just have them plus 135.
Wow.
And I thought it was all going to hell. I thought I won some money this week. I thought I had to turn around and give it all back. And all of a sudden, Jason Tatum, after being on a milk carton for 3 quarters, came alive. I'm actually really happy about Detroit playing on opening night of the NFL season for the first time ever, which I think is not that big of a deal because how long have we been doing the Thursday standalone game? But they're 7-point dogs, now 6.5-point dogs. Bet the hell out of the Lions. But I am jacked for this Jets-Bills game. Divisional matchup right away, week 1. Aaron Rodgers against Josh Allen. I bet the Jets plus 3. I said this is going to close as a pick. We're not there yet, but it's down to 1.5. I love the Jets in this spot. I'm not one of those guys that's like completely out on the Bills. I still think they win 11, 12 games. I think there's a chance maybe the Dolphins could also win double-digit games, but then I saw that schedule, and I'm a little worried, obviously, about Tua like everybody else and that defense. But the Jets are going to be good this year. I think, like, the basement is 11, 12 wins for the Jets. Aaron Rodgers is pissed off. This isn't me being fanboy. You could say, what were the Jets doing for just 1 year of Aaron Rodgers? But, like, thinking about this, Aaron Rodgers, how many quarterbacks, even at this stage of his career, would you take over Rodgers? Because we were doing the quarterback tiers in the NFC.
I would take Jalen Hurts.
Yep.
I would take Patrick Mahomes. I would take who else?
You would take Mahomes. You would take Burrow.
Yep.
You would
take
take
Burrow.
Herbert.
Yep.
You would take, and then
I'll take Herbert.
But and then everybody else that you would
I
take.
would take Lamar.
Lamar and Jalen, though, I don't think would be good system fits.
No.
Nathaniel Hackett would have. I mean, he didn't know.
No. You're talking about just the Jets in general,
Yeah.
or anyone.
Yeah. So,
if you're the Jets in general, then it would be Burrow, Mahomes, Josh Allen, and that might be it.